Hello, I'm the Tree Money Hits guy. In this video, I'm going to give you 15 tips on how to succeed in a cold call. I will teach you how to prepare for a call, what to say, how to say it, and why to say it. The success of a business often begins with a cold call. You may need to contact an angel investor to fund you, make an appointment with an important prospect, or attempt to sell your product or service directly on the phone. This is a business development initiative that takes a lot of courage, but often pays more and faster than others. Despite the rise of digital tools and social media, there are areas where this type of communication has limits. For example, if you offer services or products on a fairly high value and your target market is businesses, one day you'll have to take your courage in both hands and pick up the phone. But why are you so scared? You are afraid of rejection, of being told no, which reasonably doesn't make sense, because we shouldn't feel rejected by someone who has known us for only 30 seconds. In fact, he doesn't know us, and that is why you should never take personal the fact of being told no. What also leads you to fend off a cold call are your personal filters. You assume a lot of things, and these are potential major obstacles to your success with a cold call. You assume that the customer does not need your product. You assume that your product is not of a sufficient quality or performance for your customer. You assume that the customer will find your service too expensive. You assume that you will bother him with your call, and so on. Be aware of the assumptions you have that are holding back your sale. It turns out very often that they are completely wrong. It's in your head. Before you make your call, you must be convinced and assume that your prospect is going to be interested in your product or service. You have to be confident until proven guilty. Before making a cold call, review all the qualities of your business offering and reread all the good customer testimonials that you have already received. You will become invincible on the phone. There are a number of other tips to make sure that you have a positive attitude before a call. Get in good physical shape, physically put a smile on your face, avoid bad news, listen to upbeat music, and so on. In a call on a phone, you have a major tool to play with, your voice. Make sure you maximize your impact at this level. Use a convincing and reassuring tone. Vary your flow. Take occasional breaks. Pronounce clearly. Adapt your vocabulary to individuals according to their knowledge. Emphasize keywords, and especially avoid interrupting your client. Now it's the time to make a call. There are several steps to take on a call. They won't always go in the right order, but you need to have a plan for where you're headed and how to tackle each item. First, the call begins with a greeting. You have to make a good first impression. You have to show your dynamism and a smile in your voice in order to give the prospect a taste for talking with you. Each person brings their own personal touch and their own exclamation. It's good to follow the greeting with confirmation that you are speaking with the right person, which will also allow you to demonstrate your tone. Also, if you are genuine, it will show in your tone of voice. Hello? Am I talking to Mr. X? Good. I'm really happy to talk to you today. Quickly, you will have to introduce yourself and establish your credibility. When presenting, you'll have to tell him at least one element that will give him confidence in you. You have a professional title that confirms that you are an expert. You have had great success in the past. Or these two elements combined together. For example, I am a certified Google Ads specialist who has referred more than 5,000 target prospects per year to my client for 10 years now. As you can see, I included a hook in my introduction. It's very important to find something in your introduction that will capture the prospect's attention to make sure that they listen to you and get involved in the conversation. Then, taking for granted that you have already qualified your client before calling, you need to raise the customer's need. That is, make them realize that they have a need X or Y. For example, do you have the capacity to take new clients? This step is very important because it allows you to meet several objectives at the same time. In addition to making him realize that he has needs, he gives you information about his situation, which will be very useful to you later in the cold call. Asking him questions is not trivial either. It is because this process will already start to convince himself that he needs you. Contrary to popular belief, it's not through strong arguments that you succeed in a sale, but rather through well-chosen questions. Also, these will bring the clients to chain yes and will have a significant psychological effect in his openness to your pitch. For your part, each time he answers yes to your questions, you take the opportunity to provide positive reinforcement, such as, "Indeed, I understand very well that this situation can be frustrating for you." Now is the time to present him with an offer which in reality becomes the solution to the need that he himself has just raised. When presenting your product or service, you should mention the related advantages. But be careful, do not list all the advantages of your solution. This is a mistake many people make at this time. They become trainers and begin to explain in depth how their solution works and list all the goals it achieves. Rather, choose a maximum of 3 arguments that are most relevant and likely to have an impact on each client, which are often different from each other, either in their personality, their business solution, their experience, and so on. Just as the golfer chooses the right club to hit a ball, the seller chooses the most appropriate argument. If the objective of your call was to get an appointment, instead of mentioning your solution and its benefits, you tell him that you have the perfect solution to his need or problem and that you can go meet him. The next step is crucial in moving yourself forward. You need to establish a sense of urgency that signals the customer that they might miss this opportunity if they wait. If a prospect doesn't have a reason to proceed right away, trust me, they'll take their time in making their decision to go ahead. And if you let things go, they may forget you, change their mind, have new options presented to them, no longer have the budget for you, and so on. It's not you that put pressure, it's the situation. For example, we offer exclusivity to a single customer in your territory, and we offer it first, but we still have to offer it to all your competitors from next week. At this point in the pitch, 3 types of intervention can come from the client. He may have questions, he may have objections, or in very rare cases, immediately mention that he is interested. As for questions, it's a very good thing that they're coming up. It means that the customer is interested. It will begin with a question about costs, to which you will answer after indicating a price for the investment, mentioning all the inclusions that are related to it. As mentioned earlier, another possibility is that he indicates an objection to going ahead. An objection can come up at any point in your call, and these are often the same objections buyers have in every area. "I don't have the time right now," "I'm not interested in your offer," "I find it too expensive," "I will think about it," and so on. Your best move at this point is to show that you want to understand their objections by formulating a question and not answering them with an argument. For example, "What do you mean by too complicated? What do you mean by too expensive? To what are you not interested in?" Your tone must not be aggressive. You must sound like an investigator. By doing this, you will quickly realize that the objections that prospects give you are often defeats in an attempt to end the discussion. The answers to your questions will often sound like, "Actually, it's not that I find it too complicated, but the real reason is XYZ." You should never let go of fighting objections because the majority of sales are concluded after answering the 3rd and 4th objections. Despite what some people may say, it's not the sellers who are liars, it's often the buyers. Finally, since the prospect will rarely express a clear, "Yes, I want to go ahead," you need to close the sale yourself. You have to find questions to get him into action, to take him to the next step. For example, "What do you prefer between our option A or B?" Or, "When is the best time to install everything?" You can also assume that the client is interested by saying, "In what name should I write the contract?" If he's not ready to take his last final step, he'll come back with a question or objection. Otherwise, you now have a new customer in your pocket. If you found value in this video, please hit the like button. And if you feel more ready to make a cold call after listening to this video, please let me know in the comment section or subscribe to the channel. I'm the 3 Money Hits guy. Thank you for listening.